How's it going, guys? Chris back here again with another interesting deck. I guess. Like, this is an Artisan deck, so Artisan decks, yeah, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. And we're playing a Daxos deck. Daxos is, like, a really good commander for a specific type of deck. And that's the Ajani's Pridemate deck. Like, he's a Soul Sister in the command zone, very lovable. Are they going to sacrifice the Mimic to play another Petitioner? Definitely could. I'm going to get rid of that Petitioner, though. So, no thank you. And that's that. So Mimic is an interesting card because it can become a creature too, right? Three damage a turn is more than two. So we will die if we do not attempt to answer this problem. I might be building another mono white deck too in the future, like one of the Takasa's Welcome deck, but in a Brawl format. Because in Standard it has certain limitations that probably won't be as bad in Brawl. Plus you get access to different cards, although you'd have to narrow down your creature base a bit. Like you get Mentor the Meek, but then at the same time you also have to adhere to some of his limitations, right? We're going to play an Archon of Absolution. Gain a life. Swing for 4. And that's our plan. Hey, you're the only Gary guy. You're not, you're a different player, that's sure, but... Oi, oi, oi. They did after blocks, okay. We are not the only human on Earth that can make a mistake. That is refreshing to know. Erebos sleeves too. Have another artifact. Draw a card and discard. Okay. We'll just make it obvious what our plan is from the start. Now if they suit up a Mimic and block, it is their fault. They are indestructible. There you go, opponent. Just draw a card. That's better use of your time. Boots. Boot up Daxos. There goes Xanther. Let's kill Xanther. We can't let that happen, right? Yeah, it just returns it to my hand. I just cast it again. And you can't change the mode when you copy a spell. Hey, we got a mythic.
Some have said there is no subtlety to destruction. You know what? Those people are dead.
I don't know why Jaya has a British accent all of a sudden. Guess that's what death does to you. So, is this our second game? I think this is our second game. The 5 minute mark tends to indicate second game, but can't be sure. Cannot be sure. Just patiently waiting. There's our opponent. A Yorion deck. Now that's an interesting commander. I haven't seen Yorion in a while. We also have not seen one of our namesake cards, which is a little sad. We did win one, so it's already putting us on par with the Is It Spellslinger deck, which is frankly an insult I can't believe I'm making, but it's where we are. Guess I'm not really that great of an Is It Spellslinger player, so we could chalk it up to deck building mistakes, but it's obvious that mono white's just more powerful than the Spellslingers. After all, look at this common. Enters the battlefield, gain a life, draw a card, 3 mana? Overpowered. So we can actually give Daxos the promise of light at some point in the future. Oi. Rude. Let's get down a Priest of the Ancient Lore. The next turn we put a pair of boots on it. Prevent the Yorion shenanigans from happening. I'd say the Exile enchantment removal gets a really big power boost against commanders. Because like the commander goes back to the command zone instead of staying under it. So as a result, it just... Hey, don't counter my boots. The only counter spell they could really have is Spell Pierce. And I don't think they're going to waste a Spell Pierce on this. I guess they could have like Swan Song or... some other shenanigans. They really tanked on that for a bit. I don't know why. Swing for 2. So I'd like to draw Soul Sister, honestly. Or another way to gain life. Because then I could just Light of Power, Light of Promise, my creature, and not worry about anything. Counterspell? Like 3 blue mana up is suspicious. Let's just see how suspicious they are of this. I built my own Boggle, so I might as well suit it up. We are still playing hardball with this. See if removing their only creature makes them change their tune. Maybe they can always sack it. There isn't a target though, is there? I don't think it needs a target, does it? We are back in the life lead. So one of the things I worry about this deck is that it might just be another long deck. The life gain decks are notorious for their board stall situations. You get two life gain decks together, they get to like 500 life apiece, and they just swing at each other fruitlessly forever. Like, sometimes the stall gets broken, but generally it's a tough spot to get out of once you're in it. Yeah, this you can Yurion, get rid of the glass casket. I mean, they can also get rid of like my boots or my flying, but rude. Let's get rid of Yorion. It was an affront to us. And then we'll hold up Feet and Beaming Defiance. Well, this is kind of weird. It doesn't work. And now our poor priest is probably gonna die. Resolve. Do we have to wait until they target the priest? Well, that's rude. Can't do anything about that. If we draw a land next turn, we can play our commander and protect him. It's kind of important. We didn't, though, which is rude. I guess we just play Daxos. Our blue-white opponent is a little slow. Poor Tarkus. He's thinking through his decision. That's always important. I don't want to be toxic about it, because I think it's actually very important. Huh. At the same time, if they think too much about their decisions, we will never win, right? Because there's got to be some way to just obliterate us that's out of our reach. And hey, they're using the koi fish. Is that a koi fish? I don't know what a koi fish is. I'll just assume it is and pretend like that's normal. So this one has to be. I was trying to figure out what map layout we're on. I think we're on the throne. not the throne, the Eldraine map lane. Cause that looks a lot like, not Castle Ardenvale. Let me draw another card. This is actually kind of mana neutral because they return the priest, we just play the priest again and we draw a card. So the card that we lose, which is the Angelic Gift, we'll actually get back plus a life. So that's kind of nice. Plus if we draw a land, we can actually Light of Promise and then play the priest and put 2 counters on Daxos. There's definite upsides here. I'm trying to decide what to choose. Swiftfoot Boots is probably the right choice, just because it's a little bit annoying. Like I spend 3 mana on Swiftfoot Boots to get no additional value, but if I spend 3 mana on Ancient Lore, I get additional value, right? There's no real argument for returning the Angelic Gift or the Fall of Konda. If you return the Fall of Konda, I just kill your commander. And if you return the Angelic Gift, I just cast it again and draw a card. So it's gotta be between Priest and... So we're actually going to play Light of Promise here and pass. This was a little bit of what I was worried about when I started building Artisan decks. That we would just not play Magic for a long time. Okay, well, let's get our first, and then we'll pass. Just in case we have to give him Indestructible. He already has Hexproof, but we might have to give him Protection as well. So we've seen... You know, they're using an actually fairly common... They're actually using a fairly common build, too. Like, Yorion is rare, but... Other than that, everything else they've played has been common or uncommon. Our opponent has conceded. So we're actually 2 games up at the moment, which is frankly absurd. But oddly enough, kind of makes a bit of sense. People always like to complain about the Ajani Pridemate decks showing up in every format on Arena in every context. But there's a reason for that, right? It's because the pieces to make a fully functional deck are cheap. Anyone can get in, build an Ajani's Pridemate deck, and have a decent shot at winning a couple of games. So that's why it's everywhere, right? And I know it's like very contentious as to whether or not it's actually good enough to be as popular as it is, but sometimes whether or not something's good doesn't necessarily equate to whether or not it's popular, right? Like, as far as Brawl goes, we should not be where we are. Because we only have 2 creatures that actually, well, 3 technically, that are under rare that benefit in a Soul Sister way. Like, we have Pridemate, we have the Hallowed Priest, and then we have, Pridemate's Hallowed Priest, and then there was one more. Some kind of unicorn. Now, there's another one, but he's rare. He's a spirit. And he's really good. But not to come into our deck. Let's try to get rid of the Dean. We won't be able to, but we'll try. Yeah, there we go. Alright, no attacks. Your go, opponent. So attacking in there, we lose one of our Soul Sisters. We lose two of our Soul Sisters at the worst. Hey, this one made it into my, Is It Spellslinger deck. Because Balmor was a wizard, so you got a free copy of it. 2 mana, sprite 2, draw 2 cards. Kind of worth it. Not necessarily quite in that order, but very similar, right? Daxos. I guess Resolve. And then we'll play Shijiri Shelter as our land for turn. And I think I actually do have to just swing in. Like, I have to get damage on the board. Losing the dog is worse than losing... is better than losing the Warden. Like, the Warden is our game plan. The dog is the way to protect our game plan. I think Arena's finally kind of clued into the fact that we're running less powerful decks because they're putting us up against, like, reasonable decks for what we're trying to do. Shield. Okay, opponent. Rude. And no attacks. I think this turn if they attack, we'll just... Oh, okay, they didn't. They conceded. That means that Mono White is the victor of our little challenge. 3 wins with Daxos versus 2 wins with Grun, and then 1 win with Is It Spellslingers, which I still think is the best deck, and I still support if you want to build like a budget deck. Like, that's the way to go. Don't build Mono White, and probably don't build Grund, but you can because Grund is really cool. Either way. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.